Okay, it started this recording. This is recording.
You got it.
Okay, I'm going to stick it right here
Okay.
on this platform.
Perfect.
And today's date is Monday, August 1st. It is 2022, and I am here with, can you state your name for the record, sir?
Yes, my name's Lieutenant Tom Walker.
And Lieutenant Tom Walker, could you raise your right hand, and do you swear affirm the statement you're about to give in this investigation is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Lieutenant Tom Walker, we are here on Internal Affairs Investigation, IA 2022-016, okay? Mm-hmm. And that is allegations that were brought forth. I guess we could call it an improper arrest or an illegal arrest by Mr. Adam Robinson.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm briefly going to go over I'm going to thoroughly go over your guarantee rights with you.
Okay.
You have opted to arrive here to give your statement in this case without a union representative.
Correct.
Right? So I want to make sure that you're aware that you're informed that you have the right to have a union representative of your choosing, and you have decided to show up without a union representative.
Correct.
Okay. And so should you have any questions about the following rights, you can stop and ask me, and I will thoroughly explain them to you, because these are your guarantee rights.
Thank you.
Okay. So, you are being advised of the following. Any admission of misconduct made in the course of this administrative interview may be used as the basis for charges seeking removal, discharge, or suspension. Any admission made by you during the course of this administrative interview cannot be used against you in a subsequent criminal proceeding. However, guarantee does not provide you from protection per perjury. Okay?
Correct.
You have a right to a representative of your choosing, including legal counsel, to be present with you and advise you for this administrative interview, and you will be afforded the opportunity to reasonably consult with him or her in private. You have the right to be given reasonable time to obtain counsel of your choosing. You have an obligation to truthfully answer the questions that are put to you today, and you are now being ordered to answer my questions. A refusal to answer my questions will constitute a violation of the operations manual of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and may serve as the basis for disciplinary action and could result in your termination.
Correct.
You could sign right there, sir. Okay. Now, Lieutenant Walker, you were provided a cache of documentation that went with this case.
Correct.
Right? I don't know if you were able to, or if you chose to, review the body-worn camera video from Deputy Stalkin. You had the actual video that was posted to the Lackluster channel, and then we had the statements of Miss Brenda Weingarten, Captain Thompson, and Deputy Stalkin.
Correct.
Were you able to review this?
All of the above, yes.
Okay. And is there anybody that I should have interviewed or that you would want me to interview that I did not get interviewed?
No.
For?
No.
Okay. All right. So I have some questions to ask you about the complaint that Mr. Robinson made. Essentially, that he does not believe that he should have been arrested for trespassing. I want to say the date was February 21st, 2021, or somewhere around that time.
Okay. Okay.
Do you remember being at work that day?
I was.
Okay. Could you share with me the events that led up to the arrest of Mr. Robinson that day?
Yes. I believe he was arrested for obstruction.
He was arrested for that.
Yeah. Well, Captain Thompson, Patty Thompson, and we were in our separate offices at the Cudjoe substation, and Brenda Weingarten, who's our administrative aide in the front, she was by herself that day. She came back, and she was very upset to the point where she was telling us about this individual who came in the station and wanted to make a complaint of some type against the deputy. And he was filming her, and made her feel uncomfortable. And so with that, and I don't know if she was speaking directly to me or Captain Thompson, because she had made it a practice to stand in the hallway, kind of address both of us.
Right.
Right
Efficiency.
Yeah, because our offices are right across from one another. at any rate, so at one point, Captain Thompson got up and went out the side door because she wanted to go get. Well, now let me back up a second. Brenda told me that the guy wanted to see me or see somebody about this, and that the filming was making her nervous and whatnot. By the time I had made it out there, he was gone. I guess he was out on the roadway by that time, out by getting ready to pull out on US 1 at the stop sign. So Captain Thompson left. I walked back and I told her that he was gone. So we decided to go outside, and I went with her to approach the individual, and she took down his license plate number on his dirt bike, and he was not happy about that. He was demanding to know why we were doing that. Said something about retaliation, I believe. Wanted her name. He never addressed me and asked me for my name. My name was on my shirt that day if he needed it. And we went back inside. So he comes to that side door and starts pounding. Well, next thing we know, we're inside, hear all this pounding and yelling from the outside on the side door on the end of the building where our offices are at. And so Captain Thompson told Brenda just to lock up the front door, put the sign on the door that says, if you need assistance, call this number, because it was a security issue. So what we did, and the knocking continued. He went around the building knocking on doors and windows and the front door. He was pounding incessantly on the front door, filming, and I had the angle. I could see him out there beating on the window and holding his cell phone up. And with that, we decided we needed him removed from the property. And dispatch was calling because he was calling dispatch as well. I remember Brenda saying that. And we told him, Brenda told him what we were doing. And at that point, I believe I called, we needed to get him removed from the property. However, the problem is that we didn't go out and take care of the situation ourselves because the captain and I weren't issued body cameras. And as well, the substation there had no surveillance security system in place. That building is very insecure. Had he gone over to the fire department side, he could have entered the building because that door had never been. Once we took possession of that side of the building later on for the renovation, we found out that door never locked.
So that door was not secure at that time?
Yes, it was not secure. So I believe I reached out to Don Stalkin and told him what was going on. We had the gentleman here, and he was, obviously just as what I described. I said we need him trespass warrant from the property, and we need him escorted off the property. So Don responded. Once he got there, I went outside to back him up. Don was very professional with this guy. This person, I've dealt with the individuals like this before. They're just what they call police agitators. They just like to twist you up and push buttons and they like to film it and they like to post it online. So their police agitator friends can make phone calls and things like that. These individuals they're all the same. They all have the Google law degree. They use the same talking points about articulable reasonable suspicion, goes on and on and on. I've heard it 1,000 times. But Don wanted to know why he was being, why Don was there. Don says, because you're creating a disturbance and you're trespassing. And he requested the gentleman's ID, and the guy refused. And it didn't take long that the decision was made that he tried to challenge Don on the fact that was he there investigating a crime, and Deputy Stalkin did explain to him that he's investigating a trespassing complaint, and he needed to see his ID. The gentleman refused. That went back and forth for a few seconds, and then he was placed in custody and escorted to a patrol car, Deputy Stalkin's patrol car. Deputy Stalkin advised him he was under arrest.
So you have had the opportunity to sort of, I guess, in preparation for this statement, review all the steps that went through and review that as far as a supervisor is concerned. Is there any, did you believe there was legal basis to have him arrested for the obstruction charge that he was arrested for?
I did, because we had crossed over that threshold of now we're investigating trespassing, and that part of that investigation would require him to produce identification. He refused to. Thusly, he was arrested for obstructing Deputy Sulkin's official duties.
And so that was sort of the legal reasoning behind how he ended up with those charges, because Deputy Sulkin was saying that there's a special form that has to be filled out when you trespass somebody from the public.
Public as opposed to private property.
As opposed to private. So, okay. And let me ask you, since, Adam is, I guess, feels like that you and Captain Thompson going out to retrieve his dirt bike driver's license, or his license plate number, was generated by your desire to retaliate against him for filing the initial complaint against, I think we were able to determine it was Sergeant Mixon. Could you maybe speak on what your motivation was for going out to get his license plate?
Also, I knew that I didn't know anything about the details of the complaint. All I knew is that he wanted to speak with a supervisor. We did, being based on his actions and based on it, and the captain's had experience with these individuals before as well as I have, we needed to know who we were dealing with, so we could let everyone else know that, hey, this individual's out there, and this is, here we go again, there's another one out there, just, be on your toes. So we wanted to find out who he was and put it out there to the other individuals, other deputies, other law enforcement, that this guy's out there on his dirt bike and he could potentially be a problem.
Is it your experience that people that are into this police agitating sort of lifestyle, that they usually travel in like groups, or they usually will target a department, or what? Like, could you share with me about that?
Mine have always been individual contacts, and like I say, they've been around since the advent of cell phones, and it's really taken off. But in this case, it was not retaliatory. There was nothing to retaliate against. I had no clue what his complaint was about. That's why I wanted to speak with him. We didn't get that far, unfortunately. But given the fact he was acting up, and he had Brenda very scared at one, and I remember her saying that she had to crawl. She crawled out on her hands and knees from her office just so the guy couldn't see her. So she was very worried at that point when this guy started pounding on the doors. Getting back though, that. In my experience, it's only been single individuals, and they've been out there a while, and if you ignore them, they will find another target. Sooner or later, somebody else will run across them. They're all over the internet. You can find them anywhere. It's not a problem at all.
So after Deputy Salkin sort of took Mr. Robinson away in his patrol car, would you say that was the end of your sort of? Did you do anything else in the case, or was it at that point Deputy Salkin's case?
It was Deputy Salkin's case the whole way. I believe Captain Thompson sent some. We found out who identified him with the plate, and I believe Captain Thompson compiled that and sent that to Lieutenant Nancy Alvarez, who's our intelligence analyst, and I want to say that she put out a bulletin, an awareness bulletin on this guy.
That sort of like alerted the rest of the stations, like, hey, this is a guy that we have some safety concerns about.
Right. It would have been Key West PD, us, any state agencies whatsoever. Lieutenant Alvarez, stuff like that. She'll put on blast and make all of our contacts aware.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add to your statement today?
No. But I would just like to say, if there's any question about the fact of why Captain Thompson and I didn't engage this individual, it wasn't for anything else other than a lack of our recording equipment, our surveillance, non-existent surveillance system that since has been, after a couple of requests, has been installed with the renovation, and so I would hope that they wouldn't question our lack of fortitude to engage with this individual because I'm really not. I'm really not worried about a guy on a dirt bike with a cell phone. So that's really it.
Okay, so I have nothing further to ask, so we will go ahead and conclude this interview at, let's see, the time is 10:45 a.m.